John Boden, this is your workout video. I have never done it so quickly, but I wanted to get it to you. So it's a customized integrated program designed specially for you by me. And you're looking at a picture of yourself right now. And I greatly appreciate everything that you've done so far. I'm telling you, you're perfect example of who I want to work with. So I'm literally looking forward to the next 90 days. Watch this video. I want you to digest it as best as you can. I segmented it perfectly for you. You have day 1, which you're going to understand. You have day 2, day 3. Now you have the decision whether you want to take a day off and go back to 1, 2, 3, or you just want to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 off. Again, you could do 1, 2, 3 off, 1, 2, 3, or you could do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 off. Totally your choice. I'm not going to tell you and advise you on how much cardio to do. You could do cardiovascular activity every single day. Morning, evening, we could discuss that email or on the phone. Watch the video, it's pretty long, and thank you so much for coming back after all this time. I'm here for you the next 90 days after you see this. Let's stay in touch. Congratulations on reaching your goal. As far as hypertrophy is concerned, I'm going to see if you could pick 2 exercises that you could do back to back. And there's really no rest between these 2 exercises. Muscular hypertrophy has to do with how much tension can you leave in that window, or over a given amount of time. So how much tension could we put in the musculoskeletal system over a given window? And that window is usually 60 to 90 seconds. So when you're in the gym and doing a set, and it's let's say it takes you 30 seconds to do a set, and they go, oh, why don't you superset? Why don't you giant set? The reason they're saying that is because there's large clinical studies that show muscular hypertrophy has to be longer than a 30-second set. That's why you kind of pair exercises together. So the first 2 we're going to pair together is a basic straight bar on a high pulley. Okay, any type of straight bar. But here's the key. You need to have your arms at a minimum straight out as far as this is concerned, as far as the width is concerned. I can't be in any closer. Okay, so I put my arms straight out in front of me and grab a bar. So you might have a little short bar, like an easy curl bar without the weights, that's fine. You might have a straight bar this way. Let's just put a straight bar on a high pulley. Your pulley is going to be a lot higher than mine. Okay, I had to cut the machine because of the ceiling, so you might be up here, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you why it doesn't matter. Stand close to the pulley, grab the bar. My hands are about 12 to 13 inches apart. I'm going to walk back slightly, only until the weights come off the stack, and there's my starting position. Look at water running down my arm from my shoulder. Okay? I can't come up here. I'm starting here, so it really doesn't matter in regards to the weight stack and the height of the pulley. I'm going to have my feet in a squat stance, a little wider, about hip width. I'm going to have my wrist straight. This is incorrect. Straighten the wrist out. Drive the bar down, down, depression, half circle, depress, depress, and hold. Notice my upper body. Here's what I did not do. And round out. Watch the difference. That's correct. Slightly hip flexed. I'm playing golf. I'm here, I'm addressing the ball. Athletic position. I'm playing tennis. I'm addressing the ball. Athletic position. I grab the bar. I get into an athletic posture or stance. I have a platform to exert force off of. I'm doing 10 repetitions. Slow and strict. Cadence. 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, pause. 2, 3, hold. You're going to do 10 repetitions of the straight arm pull. What are you training? It's a row. Okay, it's scapular retraction, it's a straight arm row. It's the same as doing a row this way, only I'm doing my arms this way. It's exactly the same. As soon as you put that down, let's assume you're at a cable station and there's another pulley system on the other side. In a perfect world, let's just say, you're going to need something that you could sit down and pull. Hand grips, something wide, okay, that you could sit down and pull. So you're here on the other side. If you can't get to the other side, then obviously you just hook it up in the same pulley. And you fall back, slowly to the ground. Your feet could go up against the machine. And you're doing more of a vertical pull. You lead with your shoulder blades followed by your elbows. Watch closely. Shoulder blades, elbows. This is incorrect. Pull. Pull. That's incorrect. Watch the difference. The weight stack starts to lift before my elbows bend, which initiates the scapula or the shoulder blade to depress, okay, based on via where the attachments are, the origin and insertion of the latissimus. You start to initiate the pull by drawing your shoulder blades down, followed by your elbows. Look at the position of my arms, my wrists. I'm sitting tall. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. Just shoulder blades, elbows, hold. 10 repetitions. Shoulder blades, elbows, hold. Series of 10. Use the load in your favor. Use the load in your favor to get up. Rest. Turn around. Again. Are you switching the straight bar? You're going to go right into it. Grab the bar. You've rested. That's a double set now. So you're going to rest maybe 30 to 60 seconds tops. Catch your breath. Back into it. Hold the position. Hold. Now, I can't judge your weights. What I'd like you to do is you have to pick a load. You have to pick a resistance. That's going to be extremely challenging for 10 reps. What does that mean? That means at no time can you ever sacrifice your form, your body position. At no time are you leaning back. At no time do you have to put your body into it. At no time do you drop your chin and drop your sternum and deviate from the goal. Every single repetition has to be smooth, controlled, under your active control, coordinated, and around rep 8 or rep 9, it's very difficult. You come right into this. You sit. Shoulder blades, elbows, hold. Hold. I want you to move this slow. Ten repetitions. Use your weight in your favor. So I just did 4 sets. I'm going to rest. I'm going to do it again. You can do that 4 times. This is the beginning of day 1, your back workout. We're going to set up more exercises. Don't get confused. We're still doing back and we're still at day 1. We'll be right back. Okay, look at my body posture right now. So what I just did was a deadlift, right? Okay. If you do studies on the facet joints of the spine, as it goes from the lumbar or coccyx region all the way up to the cervical spine, I'm tall. So every individual is different in regards to link and support systems and lever arms. And here's the problem with the deadlift. I'm not a power lifter. You're not a power lifter. So we don't have to prove ourselves by going and performing a 300 or 400 pound deadlift for an event. Now, if you and I were going to be in a powerlifting contest, then we have to not listen. We have to not listen to the rules of the body and perform in a high-risk environment. Okay? But we are what? We're bodybuilders and we're going to do a muscular hypertrophy workout. So we all know that I can't go all the way down into a deadlift without rounding my back out. So I put my spine in its weakest position where the load is at its heaviest. It makes no sense. So if you've done studies like I have on the muscles that are responsible in a deadlift, you actually eliminate the risk and increase the benefit by understanding the environment or the range to which we move. There's no difference in a hypertrophy setting, okay? There's not a bell going off here where I have to do a certain amount of load to win a prize. There's no difference between this deadlift, as far as the muscles are involved, and this deadlift. The only difference is the relative risk. The risk hits the ceiling when the weights go to the floor. So you're going to put a bar on a typical bench. I saw the benches in the pictures that were sent to me. The bar will be on the bench. It's going to limit your range of motion. Here's the position. I approach the bench. The bar is on the bench. I get as close as I can with my feet in a solid platform. I'm going to learn how to bend and stand. Bend and stand. So I'm triple flexed. I flex at the ankle, the knee, and the hip. I bend and flex. Look at my back. It never rounds out. It stays straight. It'll never round out. It'll stay straight. So I lift, hold. I don't hyperextend. You're laughing right now. This is what you see in the gym. This. Okay? It's not about hyperextension. We want to stand with load. This is a single exercise. And here's what we're going to do. 2 exercises back to back. And there's a big reason why we're going to incorporate these two. I'm going to have you do a spinal flexion move along with the deadlift. So here we are, setting our weights properly using collars. Please use collars. Okay, I've seen these things slip, and I've seen wrists turn, and I've seen elbows strain just from this one move. Get in your position. Where should your hands be? Carrying angle. Here I am naturally, and I just reach down. I don't adjust. Here I am naturally, and I just reach down. Very simple. Every anatomical position is specific to an individual's lever arm and link and support system. So here I am. Here's the position, starting position, strong position, solid position. I stand with the load, and that's it. And then I tap. And I tap. And I bend my legs. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I drop the weight, literally. Okay? Either way, it doesn't matter. Go right onto the bench. Here. Feet are up. Hold this position. Hold it tight. As tight as you can. It doesn't matter which way you want to go. You can walk around this way. Lay down. Feet are up. Give me one motion of spinal flexion. Hold it. 10 to 15 seconds. As tight as you can. Do not let it open. Just hold it. Rock and roll. Come up. Turn. Strong platform to exert force off of. Natural grab. Straight, strong, pull. Do not hyperextend. Tap. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Drop. What are you doing next? The spinal flexion. 4 sets. Okay? The deadlift, the contraction, or the hold, the static hold. Deadlift, hold, deadlift, hold, deadlift, hold, stop. We'll be right back. We're still doing back. Got a long way to go. Any cable machine will do. Adjust it so that the pulley is belly button height. Okay? We're doing a single arm here. So you're going to load this up. So I'm just going, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to put on 160 pounds. Okay, and I'm going to just pull back here, and I'm going to show you the stance. There's 2 different ways to do this. You're going to do a single arm row, but you need an anchor point. I don't want you standing here free motion. Free motion means that my body has to basically be the platform to exert the force off of. So as I come forward, it could pull me, and as I pull back, I could lean. I don't want that. Is there anything in the facility, I don't care what it is, that you could just hold on to? So you have a base of support, contact point 1, contact point 2, left leg, contact point 3, right leg. Is there anything? Think about it. Think about what's happening in the facility. Can I come back here and have a contact point? Okay? Can I go over here? And have a contact point. Okay? So let's say we use this. Something, put your hand on something, a full contact point. All right, what I want to do is that arm that's in motion, that same leg forward. You're going to stand tall. Remember, the pulley is belt buckle height. Standing tall, drive your shoulder blade back first. Bring it to neutral. Drive your shoulder blade back. Bring it to neutral. Why did I do that? Because I don't want you to do this. I do not want you to pull. Sounds ridiculous, right? I do not want you to pull. Elbow flexion. What I'm trying to do is neurologically stimulate the muscles that are actually working to retract your shoulder blade on a horizontal plane. It's called a row. And the whole way a row works with the human body is it wants to draw the shoulder blade back, followed by a downward, see what I just did? A downward rotation of the humerus. So it looks like this. In stages like a robot, just for a second. 1, 2, 3. Draw down. Draw down. Draw down. Draw down. Draw down. Draw down. So here I am with a contact point and an anchor, right hand, leg. And what I'm trying to accomplish here is drawing my shoulder blade back, followed by my elbow. And I'm going to do 10 reps really slow. Heaviest load as I can. That might not be working for you, so maybe you're going to get down on one knee. Okay? Now you have a solid foundation, and you do the same exact exercise. Maybe you prefer this. Depends on the environment. Little towel on the ground, whatever you want to use. But the bottom line is, when we do this exercise, you're doing non-stop 4 sets on each side. You're going to go as heavy as you possibly can. And when you finish a set, a full set would be right, left. Don't hesitate to bring up a couple plates every set. Don't hesitate to bring it up a couple plates every set. Maybe you get 8 this time. Maybe you get 6. Switch. You come up. You bring it up another plate. So whether you're standing, single, right side, left side, right side, left side, right side, left side, right side, left side. 4 sets, non-stop. You might take a 3-second break to change the plate. Remember, you're working your right side bilateral, your left side is resting. We'll be right back. This is our anatomical position. This is the last and final exercise for back, 4 sets. This is our anatomical position right here. You see this in a lot of the musculoskeletal charts. As I flex naturally, and as I turn is the strongest position in the human body for a pull. The human body was not meant to do a pull-up like you see traditionally, the basic pull-up, straight bar. You and I invented the straight bar, decided to grab it and pull our chin over it or pull it behind the neck. We invented that. We didn't realize how the fibers ran along with the humerus, where they attached, etc. Without boring you with all this, you have a straight bar. You've probably seen these circle bars somewhere. Small in that anatomical angle. See that? They're anatomically as wide as I need them. Some swivel, some don't. Maybe they don't swivel. If you look up here, I don't think you'll have this bar, but the bottom line is look at the grips. They're all in the anatomical angle. They're all here. So you need to pick something that's close like this with your palms facing each other. If you don't have that, you could hook up a straight bar to a pulley. I'm going to use you in a fixed environment because we're going to become a fixator, so you put more regional emphasis in the back by fixing your body and shutting off anything that's responsible for stability. Okay, so everything, the neutralizers, stabilizers, everything's shut off, and you're going to get more force from the prime mover. So this is the real deal. And I saved the hardest exercise for last. You could ask me on the phone why I do that. So the bottom line in all this is, if you want to hook up a straight bar, because you don't have anything else like that, you can actually make your own anatomically correct position. So when you're in there in the pulley, you have your hand grips. Here's what it would look like if you just want to use the hand grips. You might have an easy curl bar you could put up that has the bends, and the bends will hold those grips together. So just assume when you look at this that this is a straight bar going across. You put two pulleys here. Or just say to yourself, no, I do have a bar like that I can use. But I'm showing you for demonstration purposes. You're going to do 4 sets. I want you to watch me from the side. I want you to go back. I do not want you to sit underneath that pulley. I want you to go back as far as you possibly can in the seat. If you want, make it look ridiculous. You can hang off the seat a little bit. The roller pad on your seats will just about keep you down. Maybe your feet are against where the weight stacks are in front of you. But the bottom line in all this is, you're going to draw the shoulder blades down just like before, hold, and come up slowly. Same thing you were doing seated in the beginning. Shoulder blades, hold. Here's incorrect. Ready? Everybody tries to do this. They either rock, which is incorrect because now you're doing a row, not a vertical pull. They drop the sternum. It's really heavy, and they start to drop the sternum, which would be incorrect because now you're asking the rectus abdominis to help facilitate the load. I draw my shoulder blades down, I pull, and I hold. Shoulder blades. Notice my arms aren't bending. Now they do. And I hold. One really important factor. As I pull this part of my arm, if you had a Sharpie, a marker, and drew a line from this arm, it would be directly into the cable. You would not see anything but a straight line. So if you see anything bend, in other words, you're pulling and the arms go down. You've seen that too. You pull and the arms go down. That would be incorrect because you got a load going this way and you got a pulley that's up here. So you want to always be in direct opposition the way the fibers go. So this particular exercise, fixed, seated, in an anatomically correct position, 4 sets, never over 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's all good. And that's the back workout, but we're going to incorporate more. We're still day 1. Be right back. If you want to incorporate, I'm sure you might have a TRX laying around somewhere in the facility. So if you want to incorporate at the very end, a couple TRX rows, it's not going to hurt. If you feel like you want to do some more. I always have these extra exercises, these, I could just call them fillers or active rests that I throw into the workout pattern. Obviously if you want to, you can just do that same row position. And it's the same thing. It's not just pull. It is draw shoulder blades. Okay, the shoulder blades back, followed by the elbow. Shoulder blades, followed by the elbow. And you could do these slow and controlled movements. Little drop when I start to fatigue. Come back up so I could use a little lower body. Step back a ½ inch. Do 2 or 3 more. Step back a ½ inch. Do 3 or 4. Because every time I step back a ½ inch, obviously I'm taking 10 to 15 pounds off the equation. So here's what we're going to do now. As soon as you finish your back workout, I'm going to have you go right to the ground. Okay, so you're going to lay on the ground anywhere that's comfortable for you. You want a slight bend in your knee. Okay, we did a lot of pulls. We did some extensions, not hyperextensions. Slight bend in your knee. Come down slowly. lay down. Put one arm, I'll do it this way, one arm up, one arm down. And what I'd like you to do, take this arm to the ground slowly, keep this hand down, and just reach up to the ceiling for me. Come down slowly. Watch my two hands. Okay? Reach up to the ceiling. Come down slowly. Reach up. Come down slow. Reach up. Come down slow. My palm is up the whole time. Reach up. Come down slow. Reach up. Come down slow. Same thing. Switch arms. Slow. My heels are heavy. My opposite arm is going to slide it on the ground. Slide along the ground. Slide along the ground. Relax. You ready for your second set? Both arms. Reach up. Come down slow. Reach up. Down slow. Reach up. What am I doing? I'm adding momentum to the equation, making it a lot easier. Single arm, bilateral, double arm. I'm not rounding my back, keeping as flat as I can. Relax, take a deep breath. Now nothing moves. Reach up, down slow. Reach up, down slow. Reach up. And I'm doing sets of 10. I'm doing 30 in a row, 10 on the right, 10 on the left. 10 together, 10 both arms up. So it's 10 here, 10 here, 10 with momentum, and 10 both arms up. So that would be what? A total of 40 repetitions. So it's 10, 20, 30, 40. 40 repetitions, absolutely non-stop. And that's going to be the complete or the finish of that back segment. And we're going to get right back into triceps now. I like to work in reverse, so this is still day one, and we're going to incorporate tricep or elbow extension that same day we did back. Why? Because back is elbow flexion, 100%. And all you're doing is flexing that bicep, flexing that bicep. So now we're going to call upon the opposing muscle group so that the bicep can now neurologically shut off, elongate, and relax. You're going to get a better recovery time, and you're going to build a lot more this way because the body wants to respond in an environment that's more balanced and more structured than putting it in a compromised position. Going from like back to biceps is a really bad workout. So here's what we're going to do. We're starting with a single arm elbow extension, and we're going to use it with palm up. Palm up, if you do the studies on the way the hinge joint works in the elbow, palm up is fully open. So it's the garden hose with no crimps whatsoever. So it's the most effective way. You might feel weaker with the palm up, okay, because of the hand position. We're going to make sure our shoulder girdle stays neutral. Look at the humerus and look at the load line. They're parallel to one another. This is incorrect. Look at the humerus and look at the load line. The humerus goes straight down, the load line goes this way. So that's incorrect. I want to come to a point where they're parallel with one another. This way I have direct opposition throughout the range of motion. So I'm going to stand here. I like this foot forward, this foot back. Why? I use it as a limiter, a range limiter. I come down, I touch the top of my quad. I open the arm. I use this other hand to spot. So now I'm in direct opposition. I'm going to do slow, controlled movements, 10 on each side. I'm not using a heavy weight here. It's my first exercise. On this free motion machine, I have 8 or 9 plates on here. That's it. As soon as I get done with my 10 on this side, I'm literally turning to the other side. You can turn this way for the camera. The bottom line is I'm turning on this side, staying neutral. Here's what cannot happen. This. Stay neutral, keep it back. You should have the ability to stay in perfect posture in this exercise. Why? Because everything we just did for back is retracted scapula. So we just went through all the scapula retracted movements, which automatically shortened the postural muscles of the back. So it should be really simple to stay in perfect posture during these particular motions. Slow and strict 10. There is no rest. Slow and strict 10. No rest whatsoever. So right side, left side, right side, left side, right side, left side, 3 sets. As soon as you get done with those, I have 2 15-pound dumbbells. I don't know, you probably have 2 12-pound, 2 20-pound. I'm using a light weight. I'm going to come up and hold this for 60 seconds. And that's all I'm going to do. Don't even think about this as being an exercise. This is a corrective conditioning move. What did we just do? Elbow extension, right? Shorten the tricep. What are we doing now? Shortening the bicep, the opposing muscle group. Just holding it for a second, putting it down. You will be stronger in your next set. There's a lot of boxes in the gym. The bottom line is, you could use the box or you could use the ground. I'm going to start easy and we'll work our way. Matter of fact, see how we work? This is how we think, and this is how we become creative. I'm going to start with a typical bench and show you the pattern. I want you to do a tricep move. Grab a bench, anywhere. You're in the facility. Put your hands this far apart because you're doing a tricep press. Think of that close grip bench press. Here you are on the bench. I drop down into that tricep position, straight up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's way too easy for you. So we're going to grab one of those boxes and we're going to be gravity induced. So we're going to be closer to the floor. So now you're here. Okay, this is incorrect. Look at my arm position. I need to be, watch the difference now, follow me. I need to be here, 90 degrees. When I look down in my environment, I'm here, not here. I need to be here. So I need to take this picture and grab. So that means I need to walk forward so that my wrist is underneath my shoulder joint, not in front of my shoulder joint. Straight down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, I just got done holding those dumbbells for 60 seconds. Foot and stand. Third hand position. Could obviously be right on the ground. So, you might just do tricep presses right on the ground. Maybe you're using a bar. Maybe you grab 2 dumbbells. I'm trying to get you to be a little more creative in your workouts. I didn't see this in the video, but trigger, this is for myofascial release. Trigger makes a long one, which I use consistently in my workouts. I actually hold the inside like this, and it's longer, and I'm here like this, doing my tricep presses on the trigger, if that makes any sense. Okay, so you got to get creative. But I recommend using 2 dumbbells on the ground. Where are the dumbbells sitting? Right here. Press. 2, 3, 4. Let's assume you're burning out. Watch what I do with my positioning. Watch carefully on my knees now. Here I am. I just dropped the knees. And I continue. Do you notice my butt did not go in the air? It's not this. This is what you see in the gym. It's here. So all you see is the knee drop. The knee drop. So I'm here. Press. Press. And I get my last 5 or 6 reps when I drop my knee. I'm going through elbow extension. I'm working the tricep. So, the reverse grip. 3 sets on each side. Then we're going to go right to the block. And we're going to do 3 to 4 sets on the block, or 3 to 4 sets on the bench, or 3 to 4 sets on the ground. We're going to continue with elbow extension concentrically. Listen, I'm giving you the best environment. I'm laying you on the ground in front of a squat rack. A lot of the squat racks, come over here. A lot of the squat racks have some kind of clips on them where you could actually throw a bar onto them. If they don't, if there's any way that you can get a bar by laying on the ground into an upright position, great. If not, you will have to be on a bench. But the bottom line is I can't let your arms go past the bench. You got to act as if the bench is the floor. But the best environment would be this situation if you have it somehow. So here I am underneath the squat rack, and I have my Olympic bar. I'm using a lightweight for demonstration, 35 or 45 on each side. Okay, so it's about 145, 150 pounds. My position, just like your position, has to be here, natural. Okay, so my anatomical barriers are my lats. So I can't be all in tight like this. So I just want to make sure my arms fall to my side naturally. And when they fall to my side naturally, anatomically correct positioning would be grab the bar. Everybody grabs the bar first, and you're dictated through that path of motion. It doesn't work that way. Go to your end range. Where are you? Okay, that feels good. I'm inside. Grab, grab. So I know by looking where I need to grab my hands. If you're off a ½ inch, it's not going to matter, but at least I know. I want my shoulder blades to be flat, my butt to be flat, my feet to be flat. Everything's flat on the ground. I'm coming up into that position. My wrists are straight. I'm bringing my arms or my elbows right to the ground. I'm letting them sit totally rested on the ground. Get a feel for that position because they have to land there every time. You're going to press and do your close grip bench press position. And that's it. You're going to do a set of 10. As soon as you put that 10 down, literally put that down, rock and roll, use your leg, momentum. I want you to come right down to a cable machine. I do not care what cable machine you use, high pulley. It's already set up, maybe you have to set it up. It's okay if you rest a little bit. Okay, so you grab the rope, you have the pulley, you're going to do these back to back. You start in this position, right here. Again, this is incorrect. You don't want to do stuff like this. This is just pulling me forward. Be in opposition. If the pulley's not high enough, you could go down here, down onto your knees. If it is high enough, then obviously we stand. Straight down to your side. I have to use a long rope. The black ropes you see at the gym are too short. They'd be about here. So I'd be holding like this, and I'd have to do that little funky move with the wrist. Hopefully you have a longer rope. I'm hoping you have ropes like this. Okay, if not, 2 hand grips, go out and buy a rope. The bottom line is when you have an elbow extended position with the rope, it dictates your range of motion. The short ropes are going to make you protract your shoulder girdle and deviate. It's called ulnar deviate, the deviation movement, your wrists. You don't want to do that. Stay away from that. Straight down. Ten repetitions, slow. There's different positions you could be in without changing anything. I'm not protracted. My shoulders are still back. This is protracted. I'm still retracted back. I'm depressing down. I'm still in opposition to the cable. My body's straight. I'm not rounded. Okay, so that's back to back. You're going to do that 3 times. I'm going to come right back to this station. Okay, the close grip bench. On the ground, solid platform. Why? Because the benches, if you measure them, they're about 9 inches. So you don't get proper scapular anchoring. Okay, so you get less force production on a close grip. You get most on the ground. It's sad, but it's true. So I'm giving you the best environments. This is huge. This is 20, 30 years of research on how the muscle relates to the environment it's in when it's going through the modality, when it's going through the push, when it's going through the pull. Okay, so that's going to be your tricep workout. Remember, the straight bar and the rope, 3 sets. So the straight bar and the rope is 1 set. Then you go around again, then you go around again, and that's the tricep workout. Okay, that is day 1, done. When you see me again, we're into day 2. We are going to do legs and shoulders, and we're going to do obviously shoulders first and then legs. And we'll talk a little bit about why I put shoulders and legs together. I did that for a reason. Everything we do in life is always in the mirror. Everything. So every time we do an exercise, biceps, chest, whatever it may be, we're always in the mirror. Everything we do is always in front of us. We're always in a sagittal plane. We're always protracted. So the best way for muscular hypertrophy and to give the body balance and give it more structure and strength to equate to its function is to start with muscles you don't see in the mirror. So this is going to look a little awkward, just a little awkward, but I want you to get used to it. I have full weight stack here. You have 2 cable machines that are exactly this far apart because I need them to be at least elbow to elbow, okay? When I pull. Now I got a little bit of room here so they could go wider. But what I mean by that is, as I pull, here's what you're going to see. Here, you can't see this. I don't want my fist going in to my shoulder joint. I want to always make sure that my wrist is in line with my elbow at full range. My wrist is in line with my elbow at full range. Okay. Full weight stack here. I'm not pulling anything. I'm going to start right here. Don't worry about my lower body. I'm bending it, I'm flexing it, I'm keeping my upper body straight. So really, if you cut me off at the waist right now, all you're seeing is this. Okay? Watch the series. I'm just pulling rear delt, 3 or 4 reps. I'm walking in. I'm walking in. Walking in. I'm starting to fatigue. I'm walking out. I'm walking out. First exercise, don't get confused. Bringing these pulleys up immediately. Lightening the weight. Turning. Holding. Be careful going down now. I have a lighter weight stack. Slow. Right to the ground. Look at the load line. Okay, it's not here. I need to be in a horizontal shoulder position. This is the total opposite of a chest press, where water ran down my arm. I'm going to pull to the ground and hold. Coming up in a slight bridge. My feet are the base of support. My shoulder blade is off the ground a little bit, which gives me the ability to retract my shoulder blade. So I get a better articulation because I'm not so fixed on the ground. However, I am fixed on the ground in respect to I get better force production and regional emphasis in the rear delt and all the muscles that retract the shoulder blade on that horizontal plane. So what you're seeing is this. Nothing more than this. You're not seeing this. You're seeing this. Chest press. Rear delt. Total opposite. Chest press, rear delt. Just make sure when you pull, this never happens. If the wrist starts to migrate towards the shoulder, you're increasing elbow flexion, which deviates from the goal. Because now you start using your forearms and you're taking that beautiful hinge joint and doing this to it, like you're sitting on your car door, rocking. So make sure everything just stays in line. Okay? That will also put more stimulus in the muscles that we're trying to respond. So that is going to be the first out of the gate that you saw me do with just my body weight. You're only doing that once. It's kind of a warm-up. Right to the ground, 4 sets of 10, 4 sets of 8, whatever it may be. Play with the load, anchored on the ground, hips off the ground, 4 sets. First exercise out of the gate for shoulders. All right, I have a light weight on here, about 3. My pulleys are all the way down. Look how far these pulleys are apart. Okay, about 2 feet apart. Actually, if you look at the machine, the pulleys are straight down. So there's no angle whatsoever. They're just straight down. Straight down is number 2. I'm going to cross the cables. Cross the cables. I'm not going to stand underneath the cables because this would be too much stress on the anterior delt. I want to get more mid delt or middle delt. I'm going to walk back a little bit. How far am I from that load line or pulley? About a foot. 1 foot. Okay, so I'm here. Look at my starting position. Okay, it's not here crossing the cables. I'm out wide. Look at my arms, how wide they are. That's my start or start and finish position. Watch how high my arms go. I'm going to pull my elbows to the ceiling and pause. I'm going to stop for a moment and have you look at this. Look at that. If you think there's any more muscle up here, I'm sorry. In the gyms, you're going to see that kind of stuff. That's shoulder impingement syndrome. You can only go so high, and the shoulder blade starts to go with it. There's a reason why your shoulder blade elevates as you elevate your humerus. It's to maintain the congruency. Everything shuts off, and now you're just playing with your acromion. It's called the acromion clavicular joint, or you might call it AC pain or AC impingement in a layman's way. You know, gee, what'd you do to your shoulder? Oh, I think it's my AC joint. And that's what people experience. So right now it's about training the muscle, right? Not articulating the 2 joints with 2 bones with a soft structure in between called the tendon. Who wins? The 2 bony processes always beat the soft process. So the bottom line is we're not going to go that high. So we start here, elevate, hold, slow, hold. That's as high as we go. Standing away from the machine because the fibers run on a diagonal. They don't run straight down. That's why I step away from the pulley. Okay, so after I do 5 or 6 reps here, I start to fatigue without sacrificing form. I get 1 more repetition. I put them down. I immediately, without hesitation, grab 2 dumbbells in a seated position. If you can't be in a seated position near that machine, then obviously do standing. If you can't be in a standing position and you have the ability just to kneel somewhere, that's fine too. But let's just go through the motion. Starting position, finish position. Look at that range. You're laughing right now. There's nothing going on. I'm about a good 7 inches from my side. It's not this. It's not this. There's nothing going on here. I'm starting here, finishing, finishing, finishing. Okay, I stop so water can still run down my arm. Water still runs down my arm. I put the dumbbells down. Yeah, that was 1 set. That was 1 set. We're going to do it 3 times. So you go right back into it. Sideways cable, right to the dumbbell. This is 15 pounds. It was a little heavy. Maybe you use 8, maybe you use 10. Remember, very hard, jagged pill to swallow. Your body does not see numbers. It feels load. So when your buddy next to you says, you're only using 15. So yeah, I'm using 15. I just got off of this, I just did this, I just did that. And you will look better. And you say, well, when you get shoulders like me, then you could say stuff like that. That's what you could tell him. Okay, so we're going to come right back and we're going to finish shoulders. I had to grab my famous stick. Please remind me to tell you about this. Okay, look, you've seen a front raise. What is a front raise by definition? Shoulder flexion. We're shoulder flexing to put more stimulus in the anterior aspect of the shoulder girdle musculature. Okay, so our front delt, so to speak. Do we need a front delt? And there's been anyone on the planet that goes into a personal trainer and says, hey, I want 100% maximum hypertrophy in my anterior delt. No one would ever say that. And the reason is because we use our anterior delt in everything we do. It's in the chest press, it's in everything. So the bottom line is, I'm also concerned, and the reason I say this to you is I'm also concerned about the rotator cuff. So I want to make sure that it's doing its job and functioning properly. This is your typical front raise you see in the gym. Your palm is down. This is your typical, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, front raise when they, or maybe somebody that went through Alcohol Anonymous or something, they're actually pouring the drink. Okay, they're pouring the drink. Okay, that's shoulder impingement syndrome. Okay, the way the anterior delt functions is in our carrying angle. It's the same thing. Let me explain. This is a side. This is a front. This is in between. Okay, our body was designed not to do this. Okay, it was designed to do this and this. Okay, it wasn't meant to take load in this position. You and I invented the front raise. Okay, we won't get into exactly what a front raise, how it came to play, but it's a little comical on how it got started. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take two pulley systems with you, not dumbbells. You are not going to use dumbbells. And you're going to hold an inverted position. See the invert? Not here, not pronated or semi-pronated, inverted. You're going to get away from the pulleys a little bit. You're going to start with your hands so that you can see your hands. If I look down, I could see my hands. I don't want them behind me. Okay? I see my hands. I'm going to put 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and I'm going to do a front raise. Look where my arm is. By the way, I got constant tension here, right now. Okay, right now. I'm going to hold, lift, hold, and I'm only lifting to the point where water can run down my arm. You know what I mean by that? Look. Water runs down my arm at full range. Water cannot run down my arm at full range here, but it can here. Okay? So we're going to do that. And it looks like this. 1, 2, slow. 3. Now, you feel great. You feel awesome. So you decide to do them together. Lean forward a little. And you feel fine. Everything is fine. And you're fatiguing. So now you go single. And single. And you pump one more out. Single. And you drop. Okay? That's your front raise. Let's assume that my spine doesn't have curvature. Okay, it's just a straight spine. A straight spine is a weak spine, but for the analogy to learn this exercise, this is your first exercise out of the gate when you're doing legs. You've already warmed up. I'm assuming that you're going to do that warm-up every day. If I forward flex here, nothing moves. This is going to be the ability to assess how flexible you are in regards to the hamstrings. Believe it or not, this is a hamstring stretch from where the hamstrings attach as I go forward. It's very easy for someone to touch their toes. This is not hamstring. This is spinal flexion. My back rounded. There's no hamstrings involved. The hamstrings shut off now and act as a stabilizer mechanism. They fire and contract to balance you. Okay? So the old school touch your toes has nothing to do with your hamstrings. Zero. Okay? That was from Canada, the military, testing, and all that stuff. This is a true hamstring. Right there, boom, can't go any farther. I'm feeling a serious pull. If I throw my back into it, I could easily touch my toes. So, the exercise we're going to do is a straight-legged deadlift. I hate the name, okay? What do you call it, like a live lift today? You know, something that has more a positive connotation. Listen, you're here, shoulder blades back. Hold the 2 dumbbells. I slowly start to come forward. There's a bolt running through my hip. That's about as far as I can go. Never let that happen. Keep it flat. Never let this happen. Keep it flat. Come up. 1. Feel the stretch. 2. Feel the stretch. 3. The dude in the gym, he's looking at the mirror. He comes down, and he has to see himself in the mirror. And he has to see himself in the mirror. So that's like us all day standing like this. Keep your neck neutral. Straight-legged deadlift, nice and slow. 10 repetitions. At the top end, slow motion. Draw. Slow. Feel the stretch. Draw. Slow. Like a little spring, Mike, little spring here. Draw. Last rep. Foot back. Get closer to the ground. Drop the dumbbells. How far should the feet be for your platform to exert the force off of, or to give you that stable base so you can increase force production to utilize this environment properly? Your feet should be as wide as the dumbbell. Look. Put the 2 dumbbells on the floor. Put your feet in the center of the hand grip area, and that's how you know you're in the right position. The manufacturer finally did something right. So we're right here. Okay? Now, don't pick them up in that position, obviously. Get in a position where you're strong, where you can pick these up. Remember the analogy here? You won't feel anything here. 0. There's nothing there at all. Okay? So pick up your dumbbells and go right into your first repetition. Now, as soon as you put those down, this you're going to go right into, there's a bench right near you. 2 dumbbells at a bench, any gym has it. You're going to lay on the ground. As soon as you get done with that, you're going to put your heels on a bench. 90 degrees of knee flexion. Goal is hypertrophy, okay, to gain as much muscle as humanly possible. Solid foundation, head flat. Come on up onto the bench. I want 10 reps, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Squeeze the glutes and hamstrings on the way up. Even though you don't see the bench moving, I am digging my heels in the bench like I want to literally pop the vinyl on the bench and pulling the bench towards me. Okay, I'm pulling it towards me and I'm digging my heels in. 9, 10. Keep those hips high. Switch, keep those hips high. Switch. You do it 4 times. Switch. Switch. Come down. Turn to the side. And come up. You're going to do it 4 times. Listen. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Rest. Right back. This is in the center of my ankle. When you talk about ground-based support, it's not balls of the feet, it's not heel. If a trainer ever looks at you and says, keep it through the heel, or that makes no sense. Press through the ankle. So my foot stays flat, but I'm pressing through my ankle, because that's really what it's all about. I could keep my heel, keep my ankle, and cut me off in front of the ankle, and that's really all you need. The rest is for balance. So listen, water's running down my thigh now, isn't it? See? It's not now. It's resting on my thigh. We want to keep the force production in the quadricep. We don't want it trickling through the system and going to the patella or the quadricep tendon, which runs over the kneecap and attaches here, which I told you, that tibial tuberosity. And that's what deep squats are all about. Can your patellofemoral joint, can your kneecap, maintain the load as you go below parallel? That's more ligamentous and it's more tendinous. Okay, so that came into our industry for rules of a sport. Okay, you're a power lifter. For the rules of the sport, guess what? You have to exceed the body's ability on a science level. On a biomechanical efficiency or optimal level, you have to exceed that. Take the risk, because you're going to be in a contest or some type of a show where you have to go down to a certain level. Hit your chest, hit your butt to the ground, all these things that you hear. So this is a lunge basically, a basic single leg lunge. You're coming out of the lunge, stepping forward, sternum high. Okay, listen, can't get into the technical clinical research on this. This is going to be a little different than you're used to. Watch how I lean forward. I come back and I lean forward just a little. You're going to see a lot of guys in the gym that are doing it this way. I want you to come forward just a little bit. It's that same hip hinge that I showed you. This is in the center of my ankle. When you talk about ground-based support, it's not balls of the feet, it's not heel. If a trainer ever looks at you and says, keep it through the heel, or that makes no sense. Press through the ankle. So my foot stays flat, but I'm pressing through my ankle, because that's really what it's all about. I could keep my heel, keep my ankle, and cut me off in front of the ankle, and that's really all you need. The rest is for balance. So listen, water's running down my thigh now, isn't it? See? It's not now. It's resting on my thigh. We want to keep the force production in the quadricep. We don't want it trickling through the system and going to the patella or the quadricep tendon, which runs over the kneecap and attaches here, which I told you, that tibial tuberosity. And that's what deep squats are all about. Can your patellofemoral joint, can your kneecap, maintain the load as you go below parallel? That's more ligamentous and it's more tendinous. Okay, so that came into our industry for rules of a sport. Okay, you're a power lifter. For the rules of the sport, guess what? You have to exceed the body's ability on a science level. On a biomechanical efficiency or optimal level, you have to exceed that. Take the risk, because you're going to be in a contest or some type of a show where you have to go down to a certain level. Hit your chest, hit your butt to the ground, all these things that you hear. So this is a lunge basically, a basic single leg lunge. You're coming out of the lunge, stepping forward, sternum high. Okay, listen, can't get into the technical clinical research on this. This is going to be a little different than you're used to. Watch how I lean forward. I come back and I lean forward just a little. You're going to see a lot of guys in the gym that are doing it this way. I want you to come forward just a little bit. It's that same hip hinge that I showed you. That's my range limiter. When my elbow hits my thigh, that's as deep as I'm going, buddy. Right there. Water runs down. Okay? And up. Now the exercise. I'm praying that they have the hand grips. If not, just grab a 25-pound dumbbell. Okay, if they're the metal plates, old school gym, it's kind of hard to hold through the hole like that. But if they have the grip, that would be great. Listen. You just finished the straight-legged deadlifts and your heels are on the bench. Okay? Drink of water. Wave to one of your buddies. And here it is. 1, 2, 3. It's a dead weight. Goes along for the arm. I can't shoulder shrug it. I don't want to bend it when I come up because I think I'm lifting a load. The whole purpose of this suitcase or side-loaded step-back lunge is to put emphasis or to put a challenge in the quad through this triple flexion movement. Triple flexion. Flexion, flexion, flexion. Ankle, knee, hip. Just keep your shoulder blade back. Don't think about the load. Think about pushing the load up. Push the load up. Push the load up. That's all you're doing. Switch sides. Shoulder blade back. It's good, doesn't it? No, we don't want this. Watch. See the difference? Look at my shoulder joint. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. Get it back. Lean forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, that's the step back lunge, side loaded, suitcase loaded, arm retracted, safest position in the human body. Keep it neutral. Don't let it protract. Okay? You're doing, right out of the gate, 10 on one side, side loaded, 10 on the other side, side loaded, right to the squat. Now, for the squat, when you do squats, you're going to have to bring an old shower towel with you. I'm assuming they don't have any fancy pads. We have Airx pads and things of that nature. I put a basic flat bench and one plate right here where water still runs down your thigh. So you, sir, have to figure out how many plates do you need. Maybe you need 2 plates. I only need 1 plate. Put the towel on top. Okay, we're going to do a sit squat. I just got done with those lunges, right, left. I literally went right to the bar. I took a wide grip. You'll see on the bar, there's these perforations here. They have some lines. I take my middle finger, I put it on the bar. I come underneath. I center it. Get it off your neck. Next position for a squat. Here's where people make their mistakes. Draw your shoulder blades back. Look, that's my base of support. Don't stand here and lift. Incorrect. Back, lift. Huge difference. Now, making a quick adjustment here. I want you to go a little bit beyond shoulder width, not much. I'm going to have Shane look at my feet for a minute. You can see they're out just a little bit. They're not straight ahead, they're out a little bit. They're not straight ahead, they're out. I'm just going to look at the bench, look at my posture, stand tall, and I'm going to have a seat. Have a seat. Lightly rock forward and stand. Feel good? No joint pain? Everything's cool? Everything's ready to go. Now you begin. Just tap. Sit, stand, sit, stand, sit, stand. Breathe in, hold, let it out. Breathe in, 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 let it out. You're done. You're fatigued. 1. Make sure it's clipped. Arms forward. Come around. The lunge into the squat. Okay? Listen. We're into time tension allotments. That's real bodybuilding. We're not power lifters. We're trying to develop muscle mass. Okay, we want to become stronger. I get it. The bottom line is you don't need a lot of weight. Okay? I don't know your strength in a squat. I'll go up to maybe 2 of these, 225. Maybe you'll do 185, 195. The bottom line is you never want to do less than 6 to 8 repetitions. I always do 10. I always pick a comfortable weight. Why? Because I'm always coming out of something else. Look, I'm pre-exhausting the muscles responsible for the squat. I come out of that and I go right to the squat. My body thinks I'm doing 300 pounds. It only knows tension. It doesn't say, hey, why are you only using 135 today? It doesn't realize it. And that's where people make their mistake, and that's where the injury comes in. So, as far as the 2 exercises back to back, let's make it convenient because you're in the gym. I want you to do 3 sets of what you just saw. Right lunge, left lunge, side loaded, squat. That's 1. Right, left, squat. 2. Right, left, squat. 3. Okay? Now, I want you to stop the lunges, and I want you to do an additional 4 sets of squats. All right? That's going to be part 1 of your legs. We'll be right back. Listen, really important to remember, I don't know if it's a TKA, if it's a Cybex, Life Fitness, whatever plate load. I'm sure that you're in a machine like this, and there's a plate here in front of you, and you're plate loaded on the sides. You're in like this, you put your feet up on the plate, and obviously your legs are coming down. Here's the deal. Make sure that your feet look just like that. Okay? Don't go wide. Okay? Don't go together. Just have them right about there. Okay? That's a good point. Not straight. Just bring them out a little bit. I want you to imagine that when your feet are on that plate. When your feet are on that plate, let's say this is a piece of carpet. I'm going to draw a straight line down. And I place my feet in that position. And as I press, eccentrically, concentrically, as I come down with the weight and control the load and pause, and as I initiate the press, going back to my starting position with a slight bend in my knee, never lock your knees out, I'm going to pull the carpet apart. On a scale of 1 to 10, about a 3. So basically, I hope you understand that. My feet are here. My feet don't roll, but I put pressure where I'm trying to pull and split the carpet. Do you understand the analogy? My feet are on the plate. And as I go through the motion, I'm actually just opening up just a little. My feet aren't really rolling out, but I'm just putting a little pressure, like I'm splitting the carpet. Think about this being a big piece of carpet. It's got it right here down the middle. I put my feet on it, and I'm just splitting the carpet a little bit. See what happens to my legs? I'm just splitting the carpet. The majority of Americans have falling arches or close to flat feet. The sneakers we wear are only meant to be used for about 3 months. This is endless studies. Every 3 months you should put a marker in your sneakers, throw them away, and get new sneakers every 3 months, especially if you're wearing them on a daily basis, especially in the gym. Your feet positions change. So to alleviate this, what's called axial alignment, the patella has a tracking system where that kneecap sits in a perfect track. And when it's off a little bit, you get what's called improper axial alignment, and you have a lot of stress in the ligaments and tendons around the knee. So that's why you're always getting these pains at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, or 9 o'clock in the kneecap. You can probably say, oh, I got it on the inside today, I got it on the outside today, etc. So to alleviate that, you're just splitting the carpet a little bit. When you split the carpet, your knees shift out, and the knee ends up right over the second metatarsal, okay? It's called axial alignment. If you look down the pipe at your knee and your foot, you're going to notice that the knee is on the inside of your big toe. That's what you want, okay? If you look down the pipe, center of the knee, if you drew a bullet or a dot in the center of your knee and look down and you notice your knee is on the inside of the big toe or the outside of the big toe, that's no good. Right on the inside of the big toe, so you don't want it to buckle in. So with the leg press, you could do it the inverted way, that's fine. Do another 3 sets after the squats. Or you could do this type of machine. This is very old school, but I'm sure they have something similar to this. This baby is like 15, 20 years old. But it's not the equipment you have, it's how you use the equipment. Here I am in the machine, I'm flat, into the small of my back. And my goal is to let all the water out of the sponge. So what are you going to see? A little press of my low back. The next thing I do is I automatically start pressing through the ankles. I keep it off the balls of the feet. I press through the ankles, I initiate my first pull, I spread the carpet a little bit, and I press out. Nowhere near a lock. Okay, keep the emphasis. I slowly come down. As I initiate the deceleration coming down, I squeeze the water out of the sponge. I press through the ankles. I pause. I press back up to my starting position. Okay, I'm spreading the carpet consistently. I come down. I squeeze the water out of the sponge. I press through my ankles. I pause. I press. Now, okay, imagine there's something here. I come down and I press it back. Okay? I come down and I press it back. If my arm was underneath your knees and you're on that bench and you're coming down, I would cue you and say, push my arm down. Okay, as you press, push my arm down. Don't press off your feet. You're going to automatically engage with muscles you never even knew you had. Okay, these are tricks that no one is really aware of. This is how the body works. It has to do with distal loading. Remember, you got feet and you have your lumbopelvic hip area. So the distance between my hips and my feet, that's a big distance. Okay, especially if you're a tall guy. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to shorten the Lincoln support system to put more emphasis in the quad. I'm actually fooling and tricking the system to think, ready for this? To think your feet are actually where your knees are. Okay, so we're going to actually bring down the risk and bring up the stimulus or emphasis of what you're looking for in the quads. Again, when you're doing the leg press machine, slow, controlled, rhythmic movements. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3, hold. Okay, you understand that? You're going to do that right after the squat. We'll be right back. I don't want to leave out calves. Okay, now you have an option. When you talk about calves and you talk about abs, they're done on an every other day basis. They're still a muscle. It's just like a bicep. So don't think about the literature that you could train a muscle every day. But what I'd like you to do is, if there's a seated calf machine, okay, I'd like you to do at least 4 sets. Okay, you're going to have to figure out your weight, but 4 sets of the seated calf machine. I'd like you to do calves before you start your legs. I'd like you to do calves before you start your workout. However you set up this workout, if you're going to do chest and shoulders in one day, I'm just saying, we'll talk about this. The bottom line is, you walk into the gym, the first thing you do, literally, after that warm-up of jumping, calves. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. See how it works? Every other day. Calves are the first thing you do when you go in the gym, all the time. Now, I'd like you to do at least 4 sets of the seated and 4 sets of the standing. I don't have a seated calf machine, but you know what that is. You get in the machine, put your feet on, little pads here, load it on the side or in the front, little handle, move the handle, and obviously slow. Don't drop your heels too far. Come up as high as you can. Slow, come up as high as you can. Don't rock. I'm sure you know that. We'll discuss it. Somewhere in the gym, there's probably steps. If not, I always put a couple plates on the ground or a step in front of the squat rack. As far as the standing goes, you're going to do the standing after. The standing comes after the seated. 2 different muscle groups. One's the gastrocnemius, which is the upside down heart that you see when I stand on my toes. Okay, that's one aspect of the calf. And then there's the soleus. The fascial system of the soleus is really what develops a calf. If someone asks me, hey, how do I get big calves? Seated. Not standing, seated. Seated gives you that bulbous look, and that's going to define you because the thickness of the fascial system in the soleus region is a lot thicker than the gastroc. And the soleus is really activated more in a bent knee position than is in a straight leg. That doesn't mean that one takes a coffee break. They're both working equally. So you're going to basically let one leg hang and just do your straight-legged calf raises on a bench, on a step, on 2 plates. Do you notice that I'm not dropping down and stretching? Get rid of that, okay? I don't know why people ever told somebody to do that. Just come on up, hold. Come on up, hold. Let's say you did 10. Let's say you did another 10. Let's say you did another 10. Okay? Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. You're going to do 4 sets on each side. Right side, left side, right side, left side, right side, left side, right side, left side. You've already done 4 sets of the seated. When you're totally done with that, that's 7 sets total every other day. First thing you do when you get in the gym. Then you could do just a nice light stretch. Okay? I don't know what this is. Okay? This is somebody trying to move something. Shane, can you help me? Help me move it? Okay, so the bottom line is, here's what you're going to do. Lift your toes. Lift your toes. Lift, 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 lift. Oh, I love that song. Love it. Just move your feet. Tap to the beat. That's what I want you to do. That's your calf stretch. It's neurological. It's called reciprocal inhibition. Okay, you're going to neurologically shut off the calf and elongate it by directing attention to the opposing muscle group. An example is if I have a really, really tight bicep. It's killing me. Okay, and you see the guys walking around the gym like this, all hyper-flexed. They just finished a set of biceps. If you run over to the cable machine and do tricep extension, you'll alleviate that feeling and elongate it and shut it off. Reciprocal inhibition. You can look it up. So the bottom line is, after you finish calves, that completes your leg workout. Day 3, I just got into the gym. I just literally warmed up. So here I am, and I'm going to come up into an upright position. My back is against a bench that should be bolted to the ground. If not, you might have to put something behind it, like a dumbbell or something. But the bottom line is, find an environment where your feet are under your knees. I could go up into a hip thrust position, or in a tabletop position. You've seen this in some of the videos. Hold this position, and I'm coming up. What am I doing right now? I'm kind of activating my glutes a little bit, but what I'm really doing is I'm going to be doing a lot of forward flexing right now, a lot of shoulder protraction. So what I'm doing is I'm resetting my spine, because I was sitting at the computer for the last 3 hours before I came to the gym to train chest, because day 3 is chest. We did legs yesterday, day 2, and that's our series. Day 1, day 2, day 3, and then you take a day off, or you repeat day 1, day 2, day 3, and take a day off. I'm leaving that up to you. We talked about that. You're coming up. I did 10, 15 reps. I'm going to rock, back, bring my feet up, balance, and hold. 15 seconds. Tight as I can. Nothing moves. Nothing moves. Nothing moves. I'm going to rock. 10 reps. 10 reps. I just came off the elliptical. I jumped some rope. I increased my inner core temperature. All right, I'm cranking and I'm ready to rumble through that workout. I'm activating my glutes, posterior chain. I'm rocking, getting in position, hold, nothing moves. Keeping it tight. I'm dropping or rolling, coming up. And I'm going over to the first free motion cable machine. The pulleys are always shoulder height, okay? Always. Don't do this kind of stuff. You see that all the time where the pulleys are really high. Just keep them shoulder height. Shoulder height. This is the key to hypertrophy for the chest. I got the weight down, I got about 16 on there. I'm going to pull it into a sling position like this. I can't get hurt. Okay, I'm going to walk back, drive my arms down. Okay, bring the weight forward. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. The majority of this load is on my back foot. There's really nothing going on my front foot. Zero. I'm just putting it down on the ground for stability. Look at the load line coming out of my elbow. Out of the elbow. In line with the shoulder. This is a heavy load, I'm going to be honest. I put on too heavy of a load, but I'm going to do it. Okay? Here it is, through the shoulder. I come back, out of the elbow. Okay? Everybody does this incorrect. They're like this, where it's in the arm. Okay? It's got to come away from the arm. It never touches the arm. Horizontal shoulder reduction, right here. Horizontal shoulder reduction, right here. Slow. Pause. Where do I pause? Well, there's a brick wall behind me. Okay? I come back. There's a brick wall behind me. I can't go any further than that. That's excessive range of motion on the glenohumeral joint. I can't do that. Think about 2 pieces of Velcro that would rip if I went any further. So, I take the load, sling position, safest position in the human body. Doc, I broke my arm. Well, let's put it in a sling. There's a reason for that. Okay, drop down. Bring up the load. 1 foot forward. Adduct. Hold. Slow. I want you to do 10 reps. Look at my arms. They're not like you see in the gym, way up here. Get them down. Slow. 1, 2, 3, hold. This is heavy weight for me. Slow, pause. 1, 2, 3, hold. Slow, pause. 1, 2, 3, hold. Last rep, you're fatigued. Bring it in. Go to one side. Go to the other side. You will never get hurt. Okay, how many times in the gym do you see after the last rep, they bring it back and they pull their shoulder? So I'm trying to show you a little bit of safety technique here as well. We're in this for the long haul, and we don't want to get injured. getting all these great gains, and all of a sudden a year from now, we can't do these exercises. So this particular movement, I have this on 5, on 5, on 6, on 6. That's wide enough, okay? We don't want to be too wide. I promise you, you will see this at your gym. Okay, that's incorrect. You're going to have a load line pulling your humerus too far. So as long as it's coming out of the elbow, you know it's correct. You're going to do 4 sets on this particular machine. 4 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions. We're going to show you the second chest exercise. Remember, we're on day 3. Just about to go into the other room, but you know what? I ran into a bozu. So I'm on this half circle ball, and I'm just going to do some very slow and controlled spinal flexion. Not like what you're probably used to seeing. Everything is rhythmic and slow. Just tightening up my abs, balancing, holding, putting stimulus in that long, flat, superficial muscle. Just balancing. Flex, flex, turning to the side, coming up, and let's go. I'm going onto the flat bench. I'm about to do a chest press. I'm going to grab 2 60-pound dumbbells. And why would you ever do that? See, I'm trying to trick you. I'm going to put them on the bench. Now, being a personal training facility, we don't have the flat dumbbells. We have the chrome dumbbells and the hex dumbbells. But if you got some nice flat dumbbells, my suggestion to you is we put them up like this. And if they stand properly like that, sometimes the hex do not, start in this position. Approach the dumbbells. Grab the dumbbells safely. Put them on your knees. There's no load here. Just sit down. Look, there's no load when you put them on your knees like that. I want you to rock and roll. Put them together. Don't stare at yourself in the mirror for 5 minutes thinking that you're going to put up 200 pounds and who's looking. Okay, I don't think you do that. Okay, so coming up, feet are up. Always feet up on the bench. Look at the position of the dumbbell. All right, it's inverted. It's not straight, internally rotated. It's inverted, my strong position. I'm coming down. Look at the angle of my arm. If I was standing up right now, water could run down my arm. I'm not here. This is what you're going to see in the gym. Come down here. This is chest. Press. Slow. Pause. Press. Slow. Pause. Where is the bench? The bench is the ground. I'm on the ground right now. Don't go any further than the bench. Press. Press. Rock and roll. Last rep. I am totally fatigued. Use your momentum. Watch. And use your momentum. Let me show you something. That is the floor. I'm doing a bench press. That's it. Right there. I cannot go any further. Okay? Let's pretend my feet are on the bench. But I can't go any further. Right there. So that's your range of motion. The chest shuts off after that position. The anterior delt kicks in. The supraspinatus tries to maintain congruency along with all the other 3 rotator cuff muscles. There's a lot going on in there. So if you really want to just stimulate the pec, just stop at that position, that flat position, which is the floor. You're going to do 4 sets of the dumbbell presses. But what do you do in between? I don't know. What do you do in between? Okay, well, the best thing you can do in between, if there was a cable machine nearby, anything, put a pulley down, put on a super light weight, grab a hand grip, and just do this. That's it. That's it. Straight arm pull. Straight arm pull. Straight arm pull. I'm just retracting your shoulder blade. What else? Do a little row. Sounds ridiculous, right? Watch how strong you are coming off the bench press and doing a couple rows or straight arm pulls in between. I go back and I do my sets. So remember, we did the cable machine first. All right, 3 to 4 sets. I'm going to leave it up to you. 3 to 4 sets here. I'm going to say it that way from now on. I hope you pick the 4. So we've done 8 sets already. And now we're going to do what you call a fly, but it's a little bit limited. I'm worried about your shoulder, and I'm worried about your rotator cuff. So what do I need to do? I need to take that in consideration, you being my client, and I need to make sure that you're in a safe environment for your shoulder, because you told me about your shoulder. Watch how limited this is. Number 5, number 5, number 6, number 6. Inverted. I'm going to start where the pulleys hit at my range. So you're going to see everyone, I promise you, way out here. I'm staying right in between those pulleys. And this is what you're going to see. And don't laugh, because I've done too many studies on the pec and the stimulus in the pec. EMG studies, which I don't believe in them all, but in this particular one, because of the results that I've seen and the data that I've read, it works tremendously. You're starting here. Inverted V. Not palms facing each other like 2 dumbbells. Inverted V. Not straight, inverted V. Okay? I depress my shoulder blades. I come out to about here. 1. Look at that range. It's not a big range at all. You know why it's not a big range? Because you're looking at my hands. If you saw just the humerus, what it did in a chest press, you'd laugh. You're seeing lever arms, okay? You're seeing this big lever arm, a fly. Whoa, look at that range of motion. No, there's no difference between a chest press and a fly. I just opened my arm. I hope this makes sense to you. Okay, that's all I'm doing. So this is a chest press with a little bit of a longer lever arm, and it works perfectly. Now, I don't want you to start in this position. Your shoulder joint is at its weakest and the weight's at the heaviest. Okay, I'm trying to get you to think. I did that in the beginning on purpose. Come in like this, walk back, bring it out, or bring it down and bring it up. Now you're in your strongest position and the weight is at its heaviest. That makes sense. And give me that slow, rhythmic, controlled, inverted V, limited range, adducting the shoulder girdle. When you're done, sling, side, side, ta-da, and it works perfectly. And this, you're going to do just 3 sets. Okay, I want to see how you respond to this in regards to your shoulder, especially coming off some of the presses. And that's a chest workout, and we're going to go right into biceps now. I always wondered why someone would save the lighter exercise at the end. In other words, when you go to the gym, the first exercise I do would not be the deadlift because I'm strongest. A lot of people start with a squat, they start with a deadlift. Okay, so your body doesn't see numbers, it feels load and it feels intensity. So if I start with the easiest exercises, okay, and then add, as I go through the process, it gets a little more intense. That is probably the best way to work out as far as your hypertrophy response. So I'll give you an example. I do the deadlift last. My back is beat, and I do my deadlift last. Why am I saying this? Because we're about to do biceps. I'm saying this because I'm going to save the harder exercises for last so that your body doesn't know the difference, and you're going to stimulate it that much more. You're going to increase force production and increase emphasis in the region you're trying to train, like elbow flexion. So right now I'm at a cable machine, any cable machine, low pulley. It does not matter. I'm going to hit just a reasonably lightweight, 20 pounds or so. I'm standing in front of the cable and I'm just flexing my elbow. I'm just warming up my bicep, and that's all I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to do 10 reps on this side. Now with a cable versus a straight bar, because it's an open chain and I can move freely throughout this range of motion, it doesn't matter if I'm pulled in this way or I'm out this way. Okay, that's a matter of preference and how do you feel. Well, you know what? I don't like being externally rotated. I get a little impingement here. So I like to be neutral or internally rotated. I feel safer. I feel stronger. So I usually just stay mid-range, and I'm just going to stand here. If I want to use a contact point, I will. It's better to use a contact point. The more solid the foundation is during that single joint elbow flexion move, the more emphasis, the more force production. Okay, versus standing here on one leg, which would be ridiculous. But for a functional aspect, that would be great. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going through this motion, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. I'm doing 3 sets on each side. I just completed 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 repetitions, 10 on each side, 3 sets. I'm done. I'm going into my first bicep workout. Okay, you're laughing at this right now. I'm going to take 2 dumbbells. This is different than what you're used to. And I'm going to start with the hammer curl. Okay? I am pre-exhausting muscles that are responsible for elbow flexion. Okay? So it's a little out of the box, and it works. And I'm coming up into elbow flexion, and I'm holding. Elbow flexion is 90 degrees. It's not this. That's shoulder flexion. It's what you're going to see at the gym. A lot of rocking. I want you to come over, stand on the edge, look over the cliff, bring your head up, flex. 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 10 repetitions. Flex. Flex. 10 repetitions. As soon as you do the hammer curl, let's say that was the introduction to your first easy curl bar. You're going to take the wide grip on the easy curl bar, and you probably are asking why. This is your natural carrying angle, the strongest position in the human body. We talked about this when we did back. I'm going to take it down here, and I'm going to flex this way. So here's your chart, and I'm flexing. I have to connect my hands to a straight bar in my carrying angle. Where's yours? How do you figure it out? You just put your hands by your side and you kind of walk in and grab, and that's your carrying angle. So on an easy curl bar, can't be here. I feel that in my elbows. Okay? I'm going to have to be in my carrying angle. So I'm here. There's my carrying angle, even a little wider. Look, sometimes I'll be to the end of the bar. Depends on the person, how long are the arms. Anatomical barriers, lats. There's a lot of factors. You're standing on the edge of a cliff, you're looking down, you bring your head up. Here's what you're going to see at the gym. Okay? Using momentum to help facilitate the motion, which deviates from the goal. I'm going to be a statue. I'll show you from the side. Nothing moves. And you're saying to yourself, well, wait a minute. Wait, Dave. If I train like that and nothing moves, like literally all my joints are glued and I just see motion from the elbow, how could I ever go heavier? Sure, you can go heavier. If you can't do elbow flexion in this position without moving, you shouldn't be going heavier. Why? What's the goal? Elbow flexion. What's the muscle? Bicep. If I load this up with 50 more pounds and do this, I could do this all day. Am I really putting stimulus in the bicep? Or am I asking extraneous forces? Am I asking all these other muscle groups? It's called synergistic dominance. Am I asking for all the neighbors to kick in and help? You deviate from the goal. You've lost your ability to increase hypertrophy, and you're increasing muscular imbalances. So we did the singles. We came right over here. We did 10 hammers. As soon as I put the hammers down, we picked up the easy curl bar and went through the process. How many did you get? I don't know. How many did you get? I'm trying to get you to think. I got 6. Okay, fine, because I did the hammers. I got 8. Fine. That was a set. One set. We're doing it 4 times. I approach the bench. I've rested. I shake my arms out. I grab the dumbbells. I look over the cliff. I bring my head up. I go into my hammer curls. Hammer curls. Hammer curls. I've done 10. I put the hammer curls down, or the dumbbells down, excuse me. I grab the easy curl bar. I stand on the edge of the cliff. I look over. I bring my head up. I pull. 1. Nothing moves. I don't shoulder flex. I'm 100% elbow flexion. Biceps. If you saw the needle going from 1 to 100, it would go to 100 here. It would go to 60 here. 60 here. Okay, because of the momentum. You can do that 4 times. So, you look at it as 2, 4, 6, 8. We're going to count it as 4 sets. We'll be right back. The last and final set of the bicep workout, which we correlated, we actually segued from the chest right into the bicep. I'm going to stand here with 2 dumbbells. That, again, is something that you're going to have to figure out as far as the weight. You don't want to sacrifice for them. I'm going to do wrist curls 10, because guess what? I'm getting ready to do a single arm bicep curl. Single arm bicep curl. Single arm bicep curl. Nice and slow. Single arm bicep curl. Single arm bicep curl. And I'm going to do 10 on each side. Nice and slow. 10 on each side. And as soon as I get done with my first 10, I'm going to do 10 wrist curls. And after I do 10 wrist curls, I'm just going to hold on to the dumbbells. You don't like me right now. I'm just holding on to the dumbbells. And I'm going to do 10 more, or 8 more, or 6 more. And I'm going to stand here, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to open my hand. Look at me opening my hand. I'm trying to relax my hand. Okay? Because the grip of doing the wrist curl and the grip of just holding onto those dumbbells, my hands are starting to burn a little bit. So I'm just going to open up and the pain goes away. And I just did 2 sets. And I'm doing some wrist curls. And I could only get 6 that time. I'm burning up. And I'm going to do some elbow flexion, because this is the last series of your biceps after you just did what you just saw and witnessed today. And I'm done. And I'm putting the dumbbells down. And that's biceps. So what I did is I grabbed a flat bench. Okay, so here's the deal. Filler core. I use the word filler. Active rest, active recovery. What you're about to see in this segment, remember, what you're about to see in this segment is free. It's open season. You put these anywhere you want in your workout. I don't care if it's between sets, wherever. It could be in the beginning, it could be at the end, it could be in the middle. You're just standing there, resting between a set, you throw it in there. Okay, these are just fillers. You look at it, I have a pulley, and I put it about chest high. I have a flat bench in front of it. I have a Bozu, I have another plyo box. Here's the bottom line. Everything is in line. Everything is in line with the pulley. I'll show you what I mean. I set the bench up away from the pulley, so if I pull the cable, look how it's dead center. Okay? It's just dead center on the bench. So there's our load or our opposition. I have a very small weight on. Okay? You'll figure out what to use. Little series. Holding here in a plank position. And I'm just holding. I'm doing nothing. Putting my feet together. Lifting a foot off the ground. Lifting a foot off the ground. Holding the position. I open my base a little bit for support. I tap my opposite shoulder. I tap my opposite shoulder. Tap my opposite shoulder. Without my hips swaying. I come down into a plank. My feet are closer together. I drop a knee. I'm resting. I come back up. I drop a knee. I come into a normal plank. I hold the position. Perfect posture. Not my butt in the air. I come down to a perfect plank. I hold the position. I'm starting to get tight. I drop one knee. One. I lift it. I drop the opposite knee. I hold both straight. Drop a knee. Up. Drop a knee. Up. I go into a straight arm plank. I'm getting fatigued. I drop a knee. Come back up. Hold. Drop a knee. Drop both knees. Go into my plank. Drop a knee. Straight arm plank. Hold. Bent arm plank. Drop a knee. Come up. You're seeing series. Don't get confused. You're seeing different modalities. You're seeing segmental workouts. I take this load. Okay? I carry it to the edge of the bench. I have a seat. I slowly drop back. I bring my feet up and I hold the load. This is a brick wall. This could never happen. This could never happen. This is a brick wall. I'm holding statically a contraction. Going to lift my lower body to meet my fist. I'm going to release, rock, put a little more weight on so I can get this right for myself. It was a little light. Pull it to the side, drop, fall back, hold, lift, 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 lift. Drop my feet. Now I'm going to do the opposite. Hold. As I hold the contraction in the rectus abdominis, my rib cage is as far as it can go into my hips. I'm going to bring my feet off the ground and lock it in position. And nothing moves. Tension under time. Holding the position. Slowly release it. Rock. I'm going to move the bench. Because I decided I didn't want to do it on the bench. I decided I wanted to do it here. Because the bench wasn't available. So I was here. And I came back. And I did the same exact thing. And I'm showing this to you. I'm only showing this to you to give you a little variety. Does it have to be the flat bench? No. It could be this block. Guess what? The block wasn't available. So I used the Boden. By the way, never stand on a Boden. It's like the worst thing in the world. Makes absolutely no sense if you value your ankles. So here I set up my Boden. Just a little bit of maneuvering to get in properly. Figure out where you need to be. I always rock. Feet are down. And hold. And hold. Found my position. I'm just holding stimulus. That's all I'm doing. There's a level of tension in my abdomen right now. That's it. Just hold. And release. Okay? So those are just some basic fill movements that you can do between sets. Just hold the position. Hold the position. Hold the position. Drop down. Straight arm. This is actually a rotator cuff exercise. Just fill in. Hold the position. Back to the straight or bent arm. Hold the position. Hold the position. Just balance. Never look up. That's cervical extension. No need to look up. Drop. Lift. Drop. Lift. These are just, I hate to use the word core, but these are just exercises that increase intersegmental stability. Okay, all along the lumbar, all along the muscles that connect block to block, all the muscles, the local muscles, the muscles that are very, very close to the spine, and that's what stability and core is all about. You're actually increasing your body's ability to stabilize in a better environment. When I go to chest press or when I go to lat pull, I'm going to be a lot stronger, and have a better foundation to exert this force off of because of these fillers. So we just went through a series. Now you're going to work out 6 days a week, and you're either going to go day 1, day 2, day 3 off, day 4, day 5, day 6 off, something like that. Or listen, you could set up any way you want. If you want to go right through and take a day off, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is we're going from upper extremity, lower extremity, upper extremity. We have all those fillers in between. Don't get confused, please. So day 1, what did we do? We did a back workout. We started with muscles we didn't see in the mirror. From that back workout, we transitioned right into the tricep because we were doing a lot of elbow flexion. So we wanted to do a lot of elbow extension, the opposing muscle groups, to help elongate, neurologically relax, and increase muscular balance in the human body, which is going to give you a better structure that will equate to your function as you move on in life. It's all about moving on in life too. We want to do this into our 7th decade of life or 8th decade of life. That would be nice. So on day 2, we did shoulders and legs. On day 3, we did chest, everything horizontal, shoulder adduction, chest, and in all that pressing and elbow extension, we then put elbow flexion into the equation, finished off with the biceps. Again, we did all those fillers, the planks and this and that. Those are free, open season, grab, pick, do what you will with them, put them all over the board, do them every day, it doesn't matter. Those are all exercises that's going to enhance your structure to equate to your function, that's going to increase your intersegmental stability, or putting it this way, you can't fire a cannon from a canoe. You want to be strong. You and I have the same goal in mind, muscular hypertrophy. So because we can't fire a cannon from a canoe, we have increased our body's ability to hold a specific posture while we receive load, whether we push or we pull. And that's really what the program's all about. So I want you to digest this a little bit, look at it, try to put it together, get back to me, let me know in an email what you put together, how you're doing it. You're gonna have tons of questions. I sent you the nutrition program prior to your watching this, so you're probably on that right now. Thank you so much. We have, hey, I'm not saying goodbye because we have another 90 days together. All right? Peace. Thank you so much. You're a rock star. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.